Hello viewers, you are welcome to today's class. In today's class, we are going to learn about differentiation, how you can be able to differentiate equations. Now we have a question here on the board. The question states that differentiate the following function with respect to x, and we are given question A and B. So before we differentiate this function, there's something very important I want you to know. Now in differentiation, there's what we call the power rule, and the power rule is given as this, that if you have y is equals to x raised to the power of m is the same, and you are asked to differentiate y, which is the same thing as dy dx. Dy dx just means differentiate y with respect to x. So if you are differentiating this y with respect to x, according to the power rule, we say that it's equivalent to saying mx raised to the power of n minus 1. So what this actually means is that if you have x raised to the power of anything or y raised to the power of any power, and you are asked to differentiate that x, what you have to do is that you bring down the power, then write x as it is, then subtract 1 from that power. Okay, so now to apply this rule, let us solve this so that you know how this rule applies to differentiation, how you can be able to carry out your differentiation. So the important thing, let us write our solution first. So now for this first one, for the a, which is given as x to the power of 3 plus y to the power of 2. So if we are to differentiate this one now, according to this rule, it said that we should bring down the power. That means we should bring down the power first. So here we have x raised to the power of 3. So we are going to bring down 3. Then write x as it is. So we'll write x. And then the 3, we are going to subtract 1. That is n minus 1. So we'll write 3 minus 1. So plus, what we have next is x raised to the power of 2. The same thing we are going to do also. We are going to bring down the power, which is 2. So we'll have 2. Then x raised to the power of these 2 again, we also subtract 1 just like we did here. So 2 minus 1 is what we are going to get. So from here, we will have that. Now we have 3 minus 1. So write 3x to the power of 2 plus, here we also write 2, then x. By the time we subtract 2 minus 1 is also 1, so we just have just the power of 1. So because this is raised to the power of 1, we don't need to write the 1. We can just leave it like this, okay? And so this is the answer, final answer if you differentiate this function. Is that clear? Now let's do the second one so that you also see how it can be done. Now in the second one we have 3x to the power of square, 3x squared minus 7 minus 4. So to differentiate it, you also write, so first thing, we'll bring down the power, right? So we are going to bring 2 down. So we'll have 2, which is the power. Multiply now, here we have 3, so you multiply by this 3 that is already there. Okay, you multiply by this 3. Then x, we write our x, raised to the power of 2, we will also subtract 1, just like we did here, minus 1. Then minus, now in this case we have 7x. This x raised is the same thing as 7x raised to the power of 1. This x raised to the power of 1. So if you bring down the 1, you know 1 times 7 is still 7. So that's why we'll just write 7 as it is. Then write x. Because this x is like x raised to the power of 1. So it's like we have 1. Then we also subtract 1 from it. So we have 7x raised to the power of 1 minus 1. Then minus, now we have 4. This 4 is a constant. Anytime you are differentiating a constant, once you have a number without any variable, without any x or y attached to the number, and you are asked to differentiate that number, the answer is always 0. Is that clear? Anytime you just have a number on its own and you are just differentiating that number, there's no any letter or variable attached to it, so that the answer will be 0. So if you are differentiating just a number, the answer will be 0. So just write 0 here. So from here, we can now see that if I multiply 2 times 3, I'm going to get 2 times 3, that's 6x, 2 minus 1, that is only 1. Okay, so because it's 1, I don't need to write it, I can just leave it like that. Then minus, here now we have 7x to the power of 1 minus 1. So this is going to become something like this. Measure x, you know 1 times 1 minus 1 is 0, so that means 7x raised to the power of 0. So because this is 0, I don't need to write it, I can just leave it like this. But now, this is going to become 6x minus Because I have 7x raised to the power of 0, if you have anything raised to the power of 0, the answer is actually 1. Anything that is raised to the power of 0, according to your indices, is going to be 1. So here, because this is going to be 1 times 7 is going to be 7. So that means what I have here is 7, which is my final answer. So this is how you carry out differentiation that has to do with something of this nature, right?